obtained the knowledge of this through the angels. He would call in the angels, and they would come to him, and they would minister to King Solomon, and he would learn from them. And he actually, it's the same angels in Elohim that teach us in the class that we do once a week. And they are very powerful. And he learned their secret names even of these angels. And he would call them in to help do his bidding. And his bidding was to make his kingdom a kingdom of love and happiness and peace. And throughout history, it's been known that King Solomon had the most peaceful, loving kingdom in the world at that time. And he did this by calling in the angels, calling in the Elohim, calling in the Shoham. And it's quite fascinating because it's quite a history if you think about it. And he was a very bright man. The great divine director is a cosmic being whose attainment of cosmic consciousness qualifies him to ensoul the flame of divine direction on behalf of the earth's evolutions. Now, they use that word evolutions because there have been many groups of people here upon the planet. And we go through 26,000 years of evolution, and then we get to the end, and hopefully then we go through what they call the ascension, which is the evolution to the next level of consciousness, or the next level of vibration, or what they call the master's divine octave of vibration. Now, these octaves are just different dimensions, and currently we're in the third dimension. When we die, we go to the fourth dimension, and there, if we have evolved enough, we can actually evolve to the fifth dimension. So we're here to evolve, and we go through 26,000 years of evolution. And the earth also evolves with us, and all the animals, all the plants, everything evolves and goes to the next vibration or higher octave of vibration. Now, the great divine director also serves on what they call the karmic board, and with the karmic masters. Now, it's quite interesting. There's 12 beings of light in that hierarchy on that karmic board. And the karmic board determines if we have served our karmic energies enough to move on to the higher dimensions. If we haven't, we have to be reborn again and work our karmic debts out. But the karmic lords, they also call them the lords of karma, they can actually mediate our karmic debt through our good deeds and our accumulation of good deeds over the 26,000 years. So, it's quite an interesting process, but everything is a process of order. And because God is a God of order and of love, and allows us to evolve. Now, a lot of people, it was quite interesting when I was younger. I was schooled in the LDS religion, and they taught how a third of the host of heaven had determined to follow another leader instead of coming to the earth and go through the process of the Christ consciousness and evolution. And that these third of the host of heaven could never evolve, that they would be stuck without bodies forever. And when I was learning to heal, I learned that the healing involved a lot of times getting rid of dark entities or dark energies out of the bodies of people, because the dark energies get created when we have dark thoughts or dark actions and create dark things, and then dark entities can be drawn to us, and that these entities who had not followed the Christ consciousness would come and torment us also. And I was working under a guy who I called, he was a very good exorcist, and I called him the Mormon exorcist because he just happened to be Mormon. And he had found that these entities who had not received bodies yet could actually repent and be able to come to Earth and get bodies so they could evolve. And they had been told by their leader that they could never evolve, that they'd have to follow him forever and ever. And so it was kind of nice to me to learn that even these spirits could evolve, and through the love of God, because God is love, and God doesn't ever suppress our evolution. We are the ones who suppress our evolution. And so even false thoughts can keep us from evolving. And with this third of the host of heaven, they can evolve just by accepting the redemption. Well, even demons, which were a creation, they can accept God and the love of God and evolve also, which is pretty cool. All the beings of the universe can evolve, and the great divine director helps. He's merged his consciousness with the cosmic cycles of God's divine plan for untold life waves, they call it. Life wave is a 26,000-year evolution, believe it or not. And so he tells us, I am called the great divine director, for God gave me that name, a name whereby mankind might identify with the cosmic spirals of divine direction that are initiated within his consciousness and within my awareness of that consciousness. The great divine director has also told Saint Germain a long time ago in Transylvania, which is where Saint Germain was living at the time, and he wasn't known as Saint Germain back then, when the banner of the House of Rakotsky was first unfurled on behalf of the great cosmic brotherhood. So there was people in Europe seeking light knowledge. And this great cosmic brotherhood, it was to bring peace and freedom to the world and to end the tyranny and oppression which far too long had robbed mankind of his immortality and birthright. And it was interesting, the great divine director actually founded the Royal House of Rakotsky of Hungary in Transylvania, a plateau region in central Romania, bordered by the Carpathian Mountains of the Transylvanian Alps. And at inner levels, he is affectionately called the Master R, or the R standing for Rakotsky. Now, prior to the final sinking of Atlantis, when Noah had been warned of the flood to come and to build the ark, the great divine director carried the flame of freedom, the violet flame, from the altars of Atlantis to safety of the Carpathian Mountains in Transylvania. He called Master Saint Germain, who was at that time incarnated as a high priest on Atlantis, and other chosen initiates to transport a certain focus of the flame of freedom to Transylvania. And in a succeeding incarnation, Saint Germain assisted Master R, or the great divine director, in rediscovering this flame and establishing the Transylvania retreat, which brought Transylvania to a golden age during the 17th century. Now, the great divine director has sponsored Europe for thousands of years until, the Europeans came to America. And once physical, but now at an etheric level, remains a focus of freedom, anchoring the flame of freedom in Europe. There are other retreats of the Great White Brotherhood focusing the flame of freedom as well. And it's quite interesting as you read about the Great Divine Director. He has assisted the evolution of man for a long, long time. So I just want you to know the Great Divine Director is very important. And you can call in the Great Divine Director anytime you would like, and brings an energy of evolution to you. to help assist with your evolution and assist you with thinking higher thoughts, thinking higher things. And I definitely need to keep calling in the Great Divine Director. It's very, very powerful. I've ran out of time. How much time have I got?
It's been a half hour. I'm
so,
sure everybody's
so
looking
I'm
at
pretty
this.
much done. But the seven Elohim, we call them in every time because they are the gods and goddesses of purity, light, love, all of these different things. And so you can also call these in at your house and bring in their energy. They assist us. And even the Shohan, which are the ascended masters, we can call in their energy. In fact, we should call in their energy to help with our evolution because they impart that energy to us. Because without them, we can't evolve. And so it's very important for us to have them in our lives. So thank you for listening. And the third book, believe it or not, of Saint Germain talks a lot about this. It's the green books. These are the first two books. The third in the series is a green book, and it talks a lot about what I've just discussed in more depth. So thank you for coming today, and does anybody have any questions?
Just you could let them know they're called I Am Discourses, the third one.
Yes, the I Am Discourses. The two white books are series 1 and 2, and they're the I Am Fundamentals. The next are the I Am Discourses. And it's the stuff that they learned in Guy Ballard's living room. Believe it or not. So thank you for coming. Any other questions? Go ahead.
When you are doing some of the things and seeing some of the things that you see, do you see it with your own eyes?
That's an interesting question. I have seen Saint Germain with my regular human eyes. I've seen Jesus with my regular human eyes. I've seen fairies with my regular human eyes. So we can see them if they manifest into our octave or our vibration.
So they come.
Now, if you want to see them at higher planes, you can go into what we call the etheric plane. And it's the safest plane to travel. When I was younger, learning this stuff, I used to astral travel, but I came to find out astral plane, there can be lots of dark things and good things. And so it's better to go into the etheric plane. Now, when we meditate, believe it or not, we go into the etheric plane. And so when I meditate, I see and hear and feel and know a lot of things because they're there and they're teaching us. And so meditation is so important for our evolution because we can see and hear and feel and know things that we can't learn here on Earth. And so I highly recommend everybody to meditate and to have your questions present when you meditate. Sometimes when we meditate, they just show up. And they show up to teach us. And they've done that quite a bit with me because I need to learn a lot.
As do we all.
Anybody else have a question?
That was awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.